Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. For today's video we're going to be doing another foundation review, and for this video we're going to be testing out the J.Cat Beauty foundation, concealer, and also the powder foundation. I'm going to be telling you guys everything about it, as well as I'm going to show you guys how I apply it. One side I did it with the sponge and the other side I did it with the brush, so that you guys could see the different finishes, how long it lasts, and all that good stuff. So if you are excited about this video, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload. Without further ado, let's get started. We're going to be testing out the J.Cat SkinSurance Max Coverage Silky Foundation. Now I have mine in the shade Soft Tan. This foundation comes in 16 shades. It retails for $14.99 in the J.Cat Beauty website. This is a weightless buildable liquid foundation. It's long lasting, delivers luminous natural glow, leaving the skin feeling silky and smooth. Contains key ingredients to help plump the skin while blurring out any imperfections, and the key ingredients are tea tree leaf extract, which reduces scarring and calms inflamed skin, panthenol, which hydrates the skin and smooths as well as softens the skin, hyaluronic acid, which moisturizes the skin and reduces fine lines and wrinkles, and hydrolyzed collagen, which is an ingredient known for use for anti-aging, as well as is an ingredient that helps promote healthy skin. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit more just to kind of like even everything out. Okay, so for concealer we're gonna be testing out the J.Cat Staysurance Water Sealed Zero Smudge Concealer. And this one I got it in the shade Custard 107. I'm going to apply the concealer with the sponge, so I apply a very tiny bit and then I'm going to start blending it out. This concealer comes in 16 shades. It retails for $7.99 at the J.Cat Beauty website, but it's also sold at Ulta Beauty. This is a lightweight yet long-lasting concealer that combats dark circles, redness, and any imperfection for a flawless look. This is lightweight, waterproof, and delivers a buildable medium to full coverage without creasing or caking. Key ingredients are peach leaf extract to protect and repair skin, and is also an anti-aging property. Tea tree leaf extract, which helps treat acne, reduces under eye dark circles, and aloe vera leaf extract, which helps to moisturize and prevent any dark spots. So as you can see, the shade is way too light for me. I did notice that with some of the powders that I've tried it with, some of them will oxidize or like change the color a little bit. So that's fine, especially right now that, you know, obviously the color doesn't match me. But if you do get your exact shade, just be careful what you set it with, because some powders, for example the Laura Mercier, also the Hourglass powder, and the Catrice HD loose powder, those three, I noticed that those three do oxidize this concealer. Okay, so to set the rest of the face, we're going to be using the Aquasurance Compact Foundation. Now I got mine in the shade Ivory, because a lot of the reviews that I saw on this product, they all claimed that the shades were a little too dark. So I went with the shade Ivory. Now I did pick this one up from Ulta. Ulta doesn't carry all the shades, but if you go to the official website, J.Cat, I believe they do have more shades available there. This compact foundation comes in 13 shades. It retails for $13.99. You can buy it either at the J.Cat Beauty website as well as the Ulta Beauty website. This is a hydrating and weightless foundation. It has a finely milled, luxurious, silky texture that minimizes the appearance of pores, absorbs and balances excess oil without creasing or looking cakey. It has an innovative technology with water lock system to maintain moisture within the powder, and provides medium to full coverage for a natural flawless complexion. The key ingredients for this compact foundation are cactus flower extract, which is an antioxidant property that helps maintain moisture of the skin, chamomile, which is an anti-inflammatory and calms the skin, and chlorella, which improves the production of skin collagen. Okay, so this is how the makeup turned out. The clips that you guys saw were from a different day. When I was planning to record this video, I forgot to turn on my mic, so I had to re-record. Now today, obviously, I didn't record my foundation and everything because I did the exact same thing with the exact same primer, everything that in the same order I did it on the clip, I did it today. So this is what the foundation looks like. Obviously, I applied my eye makeup as well as a bronzer and everything. So let's start with the foundation. As far as the foundation goes, I really enjoy the coverage. I'm the type of person that prefers more, I always go geared more towards medium to full coverage. From time to time I do enjoy medium to light coverage, but if I have to choose between the two, I always gravitate towards more full coverage. So as far as the coverage goes, I really enjoy. I also like how lightweight it is. It feels almost like you're not wearing anything on the skin. You do have that kind of tacky feeling, but it doesn't transfer, which is kind of crazy because I didn't apply any powder to the outside of my face, as you guys saw, and it doesn't transfer as well, at least not on my hands, you know. So I really enjoy that. Now the foundation has this texture that it feels kind of like it's a liquid foundation, but it feels more kind of like a gel, because when I applied it with the brush, I did notice that the brush kept most of the foundation, whereas with the sponge it was a lot easier to blend and to press into the skin. And as you guys could see, I did my full face and it honestly didn't pick up much of the foundation. Most of the color that you see on the sponge is my actual bronzer. In that sense, I really enjoy that because technically if you apply with the sponge, all the product is gonna be left on your skin and you're not gonna waste that much product. Another thing that I also like about it, since it does set on its own, it's very easy to blend stuff on top. So with more full coverage foundations, I often have that problem that if I want a cream contour, I have to do almost immediately, because if I let it set for too long, when I go and contour, sometimes my foundation will look patchy or it doesn't look as flawless as it did at the beginning. And I didn't notice that was a problem with this foundation. I actually applied many different contour sticks and many different cream blushes and highlights, and with any of them, I did not notice any difference. So in that sense, that foundation, it's really nice. Like I said, if you have dry skin and you're looking for more full coverage, I think that foundation would be really good for you. Another thing that I really liked is that it has pretty good ingredients, and for the price, I think it's pretty good. The only downside to it is that you are only able to get it, as far as I know, you are only able to get it at the J.Cat Beauty website. I know that Ulta carries some of the brand's products, but not everything. So I'm hoping that eventually they'll carry it at Ulta as well. Now, the things that I didn't like about this foundation are, first, the shade range. The shade range is awful. For me to try to find the foundation, I had to do a lot of research. I have to look through a lot of different people's videos and pictures and swatches, and I even DM a few people asking them about the foundation because it was really hard to try to find a shade that would kind of match me or at least be close. I was lucky that I got that color, because I think if I would have been a little lighter or a little darker, it might have been a little too orange or stuff like that. So I think that they could do better. As far as like in their website, they could do better explaining the shade, the undertones and things like that. And also they could do better in their photos, because I think they're pretty heavily edited, so it's very hard to see what the true tone of the foundation is. Here's the swatches compared to all my other foundations. So if you want to pause this video and probably take a screenshot so that you can have a reference of what the shade actually looks in natural sunlight. Now, another thing that I didn't like about the foundation is that even though it claims to be a long wearing foundation, I didn't find that that was the case for me. Now, I do have combination skin and I do have the Target Prime, so I would normally use mattifying primers in my T-zone, and then I'll use my pore blurring primers here, my cheeks. And I noticed that no matter what primer, combo, powder, everything, I always found myself getting at the most 5 to 6 hours of wear time. Now, where I live right now, it's pretty humid, so foundation itself, it's not gonna last a very long time. But even on the days that I wasn't stepping outside and I was just in the house with the AC on, I didn't notice that it would last more than that. Like after the 5-6 hour range, I would see how it would start settling into my pores, and that was the only area that I saw problem, because as far as like my forehead, it looked nice. I didn't notice any major difference or anything like that. Like my forehead, if anything, looked a little shiny, but that was about it. I actually did like the way that it worked on my forehead, but as far as like in my pores, that's something that like unfortunately it didn't look right. Also, this area right here, I noticed that it started like breaking apart and you know, stuff like that. So as far as like the wear time, for me personally, it didn't give me that much wear time, and I don't know if that has to do with my skin type, because like I said, I did try it with many different primers, many different powders, many different techniques, and I would always find that that was the wear time that I would get. And another thing that I mean, I really don't mind, but I think it's worth mentioning, you do have to work in sections, because like I said, it does set on its own. So if you happen to apply it all over your face and then you start blending, and then by the time you get to the other side, the foundation gets a very weird texture. It's not a bad texture or anything, but you are able to see where the foundation will grab onto the skin where you let it sit for a little bit longer. But other than that, I think it's a really good foundation. I personally I really like it, and I really like the finish. I really like how it makes my skin feel and it makes my skin look when you first apply it. The only downside is the wear time. I am going to continue to use it. Obviously, I already purchased it. I believe that if you have dry skin, you would have better luck with it, only because it is very nourishing. So, you know, that for me, I think that the reason why it will break apart was because that's the parts that I would be the oiliest. So as far as the concealer goes, now this concealer is actually pretty nice. I honestly enjoy the coverage. I enjoy how easy it is to blend. This is another concealer that you want to use with a sponge. In their website, they recommend you to use it with a brush, I believe. But I tried it with many different brushes, and I didn't notice that it would give me that smooth effect. So for me personally, the sponge is the way to go. The concealer, I believe it lasts way longer than the actual foundation, because I wore it, like I said, many days with many different things, and I noticed that this concealer do last a very long time. The things that I don't like about this concealer are the fact that it does say on their website that it doesn't settle into line, and it does. It does. I mean, you are able to blend them out, but you know, that's something to have in mind. If you are the type of person that look for a concealer that you could just apply and, you know, kind of tap with your fingers and then move on, obviously you don't want it to be creasing because you don't want to be touching your face, or now that we have to wear the mask out everywhere, you know, you don't want the concealer to be rubbing with other things and just makes a mess. It does settle into lines. If you have oily skin and you do need to set your under eye, it tends to look pretty cakey very fast, so you have to be careful. Just If you do have pretty oily under eyes, I believe you can use a mattifying primer, then apply this, and then just use the minimum amount of powder. Because the times that I tried to bake with this, I noticed that my under eye looked very heavy and it was obviously very creased. So I didn't like the effect that it gives my under eye. But if you apply a very little amount and then you set it with a little bit of powder, just kind of like in the brush, and then you just tap it like underneath your eye, I think that's the best way, and that's what's gonna give you the more blur type of effect without looking cakey. Another downside to this is the same thing as with the foundation. The shade range, it's very limited, and like I said, they need to do a little bit better. They need to let you know the undertones and how, and maybe add more realistic photos on their website. You know, whenever I want to buy a foundation or concealer, I like to look at photos under sunlight, you know, with regular people, because then I can relate to, you know, their skin tones or stuff like that, and it helps me make a better decision as far as like what shade to get. So that's another thing that I didn't enjoy this. And obviously the shade that I got is way too light, but it does have acne treatment ingredients. So if you do have very acne prone skin, or you have a lot of breakouts, maybe something like this would be for you. Because it does have those kind of ingredients. Now, as far as the Aquasurance Compact Foundation, this powder is awesome. I actually enjoyed it so much, to the point that I need to go get backups of it. Now, the shade that I have on this one is Ivory, which is obviously way too light, but this foundation does oxidize. So for whatever reason, it looks this color. But if you let it sit for a couple seconds, maybe a minute, the shade shifts to a different color. I don't know if it has to do with the warmth of your skin. So if you are planning to pick this up, just have that in mind, that it does oxidize maybe like a shade or two. But other than that, like, this powder is really, really nice. I love that really velvety effect that it gives to the skin. Honestly, like, the first time I wore it, my husband was telling me that I looked like I had porcelain skin, because it's just that kind of powder. If you like that very full coverage, that, you know, that very full glam, this powder, it's really good. I honestly really enjoyed it. Now, in their website, they said that you could use it dry, or you could use it with the dampened sponge to get even more coverage. I have not tried that yet, only because me personally, I'm not a huge fan of putting wet sponges into my powders. But if that's something that you enjoy or you're into, maybe it's worth a try. So yeah, this is the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please let me know in the comments if you guys are planning on picking this foundation up, or if it's going to be a pass for you, or if you tried it, how was your experience? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.